How do you work with Leviathan in Draconianism? Why is Leviathan such a popular deity in Draconian practices? And how did we get here? Okay, like what can you do if you feel called to Draconianism and Leviathan? Today's video is very special because it's brought to you by Leviathan's LAIR, which is a new Discord server created by hatchlings for the hatchlings in honor of Leviathan, to learn about him, to grow together, and to share our practice with him. So it's going to be the first link in the description down below, and you definitely are going to need to join Leviathan's LAIR to hang out with the hatchlings and I on this beautiful journey discovering how to work with Leviathan. But back to the main issue at hand here. Why is Leviathan such a popular deity to work with in Draconianism? I am so honored and privileged to host you today for this episode of the Daily Dose, because guess what? Leviathan is one of those really unique deities in the sense that he is not only a dragon, but he's also an infernal. And this gives him kind of really unique energy in the sense that Leviathan can be worked with in dragon magic and demon magic, or like infernal divine type of craft. And it's so much fun. Excuse me, I just hit my thumb on the thing. Ow. Whoopsie. But anyway, it's so much fun. Too excited here. It's so much fun because I like working with deities that kind of have a bunch of different crossroads of niche identities, and Leviathan's a great example of that. And it really comes to fruition within Draconianism specifically because many people work with Leviathan as a, like, sometimes even their patron deity in their practice, and they work with his infernal aspects as well as his draconic or draconian aspects. And one of the most popular, I would say, practices to work with Leviathan is in none other than the Ritual of the Flames, the Draconian Ritual of the Flames. You might find a lot of people doing this based off of the Azonoth Mason books. There's a little bit in there about Leviathan in her books, but we don't cover that type of Draconianism on this channel. We talk about it for like historical sake, right, and like how it influences culture, right? But that is not the Draconian tradition that we talk about and teach here on the channel. We teach here the Draconianism that I founded here on the channel with the help of my dragons, and we stay away from traditional Draconianism and those like Draconian orders that claim to be ancient paths revived, because it's not an ancient path, okay? Draconianism is a new age path, right? And it was very large in part, the snowball kind of started with Aleister Crowley. He passed it off to Kenneth Grant, Michael Ford picked it up, and now we kind of have what we do today with the Temple of the Ascending Flame, as well as Black Dragon Rogue, and some other ones that I don't really give a crap about. But the reason why I bring this up is because that's where Leviathan really took his stronghold in terms of being a very popular figure in Draconian traditions. And when we work with Leviathan in Draconian, like in Draconianism, or as like a Draconian deity, we need to first and foremost not remove him from his cultural contexts. Okay, so what we're not going to do is we're not going to look at Leviathan and his themes and see how Leviathan and his themes are very similar to Jormungandr from Norse mythology and his themes, and collapsing them together. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to keep them separate because they each have their own separate stories, their own separate cultures, and their own separate stories that really have importance to them. We need to emphasize that, and we need to really focus on prioritizing that, okay? And so with Leviathan, we have a very unique dragon because most of what we know Leviathan comes from the Bible, the Old Testament, and Jewish mysticism. And this is really fascinating because Leviathan is more than just like a deity's name. Leviathan, the word itself, used to be, and still kind of is, a descriptive word for a giant sea creature. And over time we, created words like dinosaur, or we created words like sea serpent to replace Leviathan. And that is also the same thing with like sharks and whales. We used to call them Leviathans. So that's something that I also think is really worth studying when it comes to Leviathan in particular. And the way that it ties in with Draconianism, with Leviathan, is very, very, very much in the realms of him being identified as an infernal. And so we, in this practice here on my channel that I teach about, we teach about the different colors of rainbow hellfire coming out of Leviathan's maw, and that is how we work with Leviathan in the Draconianism that I teach about here on my channel. Everybody is gonna have like their own unique practice with the dragons, of course. So what I teach here on my channel is going to be unique to my path, as the dragons taught me this version. That is nothing to do with like the Qliphoth or the Kabbalah or Hermeticism or Kundalini or any of that, okay? The only similarity we share is a deep reverence and respect, hopefully respect, for the dragon deities and certain deities like Lucifer and Lilith, for example, throughout history, that can fall under draconian practices or have like dragon aspects or dragon forms that they present themselves to us quite commonly. We don't really know what's going on in the background. There's always drama wherever I live, so there's that. However, what I will say is that in Draconianism with Leviathan, it's very simple, okay? We work with Leviathan to transmute our hellfire into heaven, okay? We do not accept anything less than progress on the Draconian path, than evolution, okay? And sacrifice is always the cost, all right? Sacrifice of your comfort, sacrifice of your ego, sacrifice of your belief systems over and over again. And with Leviathan in particular, when we work with him in Draconianism and he sets us on hellfire, rainbow hellfire, we transmute the past to purify our future, okay? We transmute our trauma into power for our highest good, and we transmute our procrastination into progress because we refuse to stay stuck in idle, okay? Leviathan forces us to move through the dark depths that you would rather stay cozy and asleep in. No. Leviathan is the earthquake at the bottom of the sea that rips the earth apart and spews out hellfire. That is Leviathan, yeah. And so when we work with Leviathan in Draconianism, we pay attention to his themes, to his tales, to his stories, to how he's described. And we look inside of ourselves and where his themes match us and how we can progress from that. Do you even want to live a life where you don't sit with your pain and turn it into power? Because when you let Leviathan devour you and everything you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, every single time you will be transformed. And if you have an anchor to reality, a purpose for why you do what you do every time, Leviathan will transform you into something better, brighter, and just happier. But if you do not have an anchor to your reality and you push yourself too hard, you could corrupt your soul. So please be careful. And if you want to learn a little bit more for what I work with Leviathan for in my practice, go ahead and check out the video I posted on my second channel. It's called Lost in Leviathan's Lair. It is all about how I work with Leviathan to basically overcome my own internal hellfire and the emotions of how that works, and just all of that. My personal intimate thoughts are in that video. And of course, if you haven't joined us already in Leviathan's Lair, the new Discord server, part of the Hatchling Clan network that is dedicated towards the study of Leviathan and working magic with Leviathan, you're definitely going to want to click the first link in the description to join us, and we cannot wait to see you there. But this is just your daily dose of DragonFaether. And if you're new here, assalamu alaikum, merry meet and welcome back to your daily dose of DragonFaether. My name is Azura DragonFaether, the Draconic Priestess, and I've been working with dragons for nearly 30 years now, and I'm just a girl who follows her dragons, and I share that story here. And we just wanted to pop on here and give you a little bit of taste of Leviathan, okay? Because we absolutely adore him in this side of the internet, and he has saved me so many times with my own religious trauma, many more times than I can count, and I can't wait to start sharing that journey with you guys. So don't forget to hit that follow button if you haven't already, and until next time, stay freaky, little hatchlings. Godafis, blessed be, and Amin. And please follow me so we don't get lost.